When people talk about rare bonsai, they usually point to what they've seen: museum trees, exhibition winners, viral masterpieces. But what you're seeing isn't the rule. It's the exception that survived. For every bonsai that reaches this level, countless others quietly disappear, never photographed, never remembered, never becoming part of the story. This episode is about the gap between what's admired and what's repeatable. We'll look at 3 types of bonsai that are often misunderstood as proof that anything can work: an elite pine shaped over decades, a maple that survived conditions most never do, and a modern tropical bonsai that looks cooperative until time begins asking for payment. These trees aren't lies, but they are incomplete truths. As you watch this episode, don't ask whether these bonsai can be done. Ask why they're so rare. Because exceptions don't break the rules. They reveal how strict the rules actually are. And once you understand that, you stop chasing outcomes and start understanding choices. That's where this episode begins. When people see elite bonsai, they often assume mastery came first. But in many cases, what came first was time, and the willingness to move slowly. When nothing seemed to be happening, elite trees are not defined by complexity. They're defined by restraint sustained over decades. That difference matters more than skill. Japanese white pine grows slowly, very slowly. From a biological perspective, this means energy moves conservatively, healing is selective, and recovery demands patience. According to plant physiology, slow-growing conifers trade speed for longevity. They don't forgive repeated correction. Every cut carries long-term cost. Most white pine bonsai never reach this stage, not because they fail immediately, but because the margin for error shrinks year after year. Small mistakes accumulate, recovery slows, and time stops being forgiving. What remains in exhibitions is not what's typical, it's what survived decades of correct restraint. Elite bonsai don't prove that anything is possible. They prove how narrow the path really is. What looks inspiring is often the result of conditions that can't be recreated easily. Material, climate, timing, and restraint aligned perfectly. In the next segment, we'll look at another illusion. Not elite trees, but familiar ones we assume are reliable, because we only see the survivors. Survivorship bias is simple. We judge success by what remains visible. In bonsai, that means the trees that lived long enough to be photographed, exhibited, and admired. What we rarely see are the trees that declined quietly, the ones removed from benches, never making it into the narrative. What survives becomes the standard, even when it shouldn't. Japanese maples intensify this illusion. They respond beautifully. At first, fine branching develops quickly. Seasonal color hides structural stress. But biologically, maples are sensitive. Root disturbance, vascular disruption, and repeated correction take a cumulative toll. According to arboriculture research, dieback often appears years after the initial stress. By then, the story has already been written. Most maple bonsai don't fail dramatically. They fade, branch by branch, section by section. These trees are rarely documented. They aren't shared. They aren't remembered. What reaches exhibitions is not the average outcome. It's the narrow result of ideal material, ideal climate, and exceptional restraint. Survivorship bias doesn't mean maple bonsai are dishonest. It means our reference point is incomplete. What we admire is often the exception that made it through conditions most trees never encounter or survive. In the next segment, we'll move to a different kind of illusion. A modern bonsai that looks cooperative, responds quickly, and tempts us to forget that time always collects its cost. Premna bonsai often looks like success. Dense canopies, fine branching, fast response. Compared to slow species, it feels cooperative, almost generous. But what looks like harmony is often speed, and speed can hide cost. Biologically, fast-growing species behave differently. Premna allocates energy toward foliage first. Healing is quick, but often shallow. According to plant physiology, rapid regrowth can outpace structural reinforcement. What looks recovered is sometimes only covered. The tree responds, but it doesn't always strengthen. The problem doesn't appear immediately. It arrives later, when ramification demands structure, when weight increases, when correction becomes frequent. Many Premna bonsai don't collapse suddenly. They weaken incrementally. What was gained quickly begins to demand repayment. Premna isn't a mistake, and it isn't dishonest, but it is often misunderstood. Fast cooperation feels reassuring, until time asks whether that cooperation was structural or temporary. In the final segment, we'll step back and ask why exceptions don't invalidate rules, and why understanding this changes how we admire bonsai. After seeing these exceptions, it's tempting to think the rules don't apply. But exceptions don't rewrite reality. They expose it. Elite white pines, surviving maples, and visually striking premna don't succeed because the rules changed. They succeed because every condition aligned just enough, often briefly, often at great cost. Understanding this changes how we admire bonsai. Instead of asking, "Can this be done?" we begin to ask, "Why did this survive?" Admiration shifts from outcome to context, from beauty to endurance, from replication to understanding. And that shift matters, because it brings respect back into the practice. If this perspective resonates with you, this is what Ethereal Bonsai is about. Not instruction, not shortcuts, but understanding bonsai through time, biology, and choice. Subscribe to Ethereal Bonsai, 4 long-form documentaries that explore rare bonsai beyond appearances, and why some trees endure, while others quietly disappear.